Most events are forgettable, not because the people running them don't care, but because they're optimizing for logistics instead of memory. I'm Jay Minash, Senior Director of Strategy and Growth at Exhibitus, and this is Event Experience Experts. Every episode, I sit down with the creatives, strategists, and senior leaders who are raising the bar on what live brand experiences can actually do. If you're done accepting forgettable, you're in the right place. My guest today built her career going from running one trade show booth to running a global program. She scaled event marketing to more than 40 events a year across 5 continents. Then, she went into the opposite. She built a flagship event and a full account-based marketing engine from zero. Now, at Pixels, she runs Flow, and she writes a newsletter with a mission statement I love, getting event marketers to stop calling themselves party planners and start acting like the strategic leaders they are. Connecting the dots between events and sales to prove events are relationship builders, we all know, and revenue drivers. And that's exactly the conversation we're having today. This is Aleksandra Panyukhina. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for such a lovely introduction.
Of course. I should say, most important question. Did I pronounce your name right?
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, you definitely nailed the Alexandra part.
If I didn't get that part, I would have had to stop and just moved on from now.
You did great.
So obviously you've been doing events for a long time and you've gone like full gamut, big program down to little, little program down to big. What was the moment you realized that events could do something really better than any other medium? Or more, I should say, not even better, something different than other mediums?
I think the biggest realization that, yes, this is a very unique channel, and this is something that, despite a lot of controversy around that, despite a lot of kind of, I don't want to say negativity, but opinions that events don't matter. I decided that no, I want to pursue it. I actually know how to crack it. Was specifically when we shifted from just running events for lead gen, for all of that, but when we actually built a very intentional program in collaboration with the sales team to focus on high-end accounts. And that when it all clicked, like that was that unique value of events, opening up the doors or helping to close the deals with the accounts that just wouldn't do it otherwise and wouldn't rely on and wouldn't trust any other channels, no matter how much money you would be pouring in it. Because I used to work with companies who had what felt like unlimited budgets to put into paid and into other performance channels, but events were still a winning mechanism for a very specific subset of accounts that may not be that large when you think about it, but when you think just in numbers of accounts, but when you look at the revenue and especially at the potential that they can generate year over year, it's massive. And
Yeah.
events are that entry point for them.
Yeah, I always find it interesting when people, talk the negativity of events and say, oh, they don't work. It's just it's a money sucker. We're draining budget into it. And then you talk about these paid ads or like these mass marketed advertisements. I'm like, but how do you have any idea that that's working? Because and maybe this is terrible of me as a marketer. It's like, I will click your sponsored ad to make you spend that money. And I'm obviously not a buyer. So it's like, events have, I mean, yes, there's a lot of waste in events. There's no doubt whether we're talking about sustainability waste or just monetary waste. But yeah, the impact of what an event can do for that relationship, no matter the size of the account. To your point, I think that has changed quite a bit though in recent years, especially post pandemic, the influx of AI, everything. So yeah, no, I think it's very much doing a 180 of where it was before. So
Yeah,
in your
100%.
in your role, you control kind of the whole thing, and I think you probably have to make some trade-offs. Where does that creative tension live in your process? Are you thinking, is it between the vision and the budget? Where does it break down for you?
Um, well, when you mean creative tension, just to kind of make sure we are on the same page, what exactly do you understand by that?
Yeah, so when you're looking at an event, you're putting it together and you're thinking about like whether the theme and the creative there and where you have to like, hey, I have a budget I have to stick to. Like where are you making those decisions? Do you have kind of like a framework of how you make a decision of like this is worth it, this is not.
Yeah, so definitely whenever you are looking at creating an experience, there are certain guardrails, and you have a budget, you know that you have a budget. There are certain guardrails that you know in advance, okay, this is what we can do and this is what we can't do. And these limitations, what we definitely can't do, actually need to shape what you can do and how you can get really creative around it. And I must say, I think I can probably wear a badge of someone who really knows how to handle things on very low budgets, compared to majority of the industry, and making them work much harder and much better than yeah, many other budgets when you have a little bit more leeway and a little bit more freedom. So when it comes to kind of what is the most important, it's always what do we want to get as the main outcome? What it is that matters to us. There are always different ways to get there. And an important thing when you approach it is to approach it with an open mind and not to get stuck with the very specific format. You need to reinvent things. You need to um, almost every year you need to approach it like as a clean slate, especially now. The industry is moving so fast. Your company is 100% developing and evolving, especially if you are in tech, SaaS space, for example. Your
Mhm.
company is evolving. Every 6 months, it's not the same business as it used to be before. So, this long term strategies, unless you are Salesforce and the likes of it, they hardly work for events anymore. You need to always stay on your toes and you always need to connect with your business strategy and see how that if whatever you're planning still aligns. But then yeah, so that's the why. And then there is the attendee experience. What will impact the attendee experience and want? Because for and I always bring this example up, no one has ever complained to me that they didn't get a water bottle. Since we caught the swag, and I caught the swag for multiple reasons post COVID. First was sustainability, because just the amount of wasted swag and all of these items is insane. Second, it's such an expense. It's a huge expense for the company. And to be honest, to produce something really high quality, most companies actually don't have budgets like that. So you produce mediocre thing that ends up being in the waste and you just do it because everybody does so. Like, what's the logic there? No, what attendees do appreciate though is good food. I like food. You really need to make sure you nail it. And the venue, that matters, the quality of the venue, the location, the everything, like how you get there, so it's smooth experience, so it's nice, it's comfortable, the food is great, the drinks are plenty and of different options. People actually do remember these details and you can't save money on that. But you know what they don't remember? Where there was a small stage or where there was no stage. And they do remember how good the screen was if they had to really see the details of the slide. So you always think about these things, and if you really need to be creative, let's say, in terms of how you utilize limited budget, that's how you, at least how I approach it, and that's how I think about it. And so far so good. I think we've only been getting better and better feedback from the attendees, and also I think the formats always evolving, and finding interesting venues actually affects the program. So it's just always a new experience for people, and they love coming to these events. They always know there will be something new and interesting and exciting, but it will always be a great experience for them.
There are a few things I want to touch on there. First of all,
Mhm.
you're taking the perspective of like, yeah, let's think about this through the attendee perspective, and when you take it that way, and have you read the book Unreasonable Hospitality?
Yes.
Uh, that changed. I wouldn't, maybe it didn't completely change my perspective, but it's like it's just the way you think about things. It's like, is this really elevating the experience the attendee is having? And then also on the swag, and I'll quote Liz Latham, stuff we all get, that 98% of it, and I will say that is a guaranteed fact, 98% of it goes, it goes in the trash, and it's usually low quality. So it's like, that is such an easy trade-off. What I'll say I was most impressed with, the thing you said, was starting with a clean slate every year. Because how often do you hear where it's like, well, we always did it this way? And the fact that you year over year are starting clean slate, and I'm sure there are some things obviously that repeat themselves, but it's like to even have that mindset going into event planning, whether it's the creative or the budget or like any aspect of it, it's like it's just such a unique look at it. And I think that's honestly probably a big reason why you've been so successful in getting the results you're getting with these events.
Yeah. I also think it's kind of hard to approach it with that mindset. And I know that I sort of broke through the boundary of getting emotionally attached to the events that we create. I used to have it, but I don't anymore. I'm actually ready to, okay, if it's not working for the business anymore, that's fine. We will rewrite it. We'll do something different. So I'm not getting so hung up on, oh, but it was so good, but we've always done that. Oh, that was such a beautiful time. But I know that is it is a thing, and this is
Mhm.
one of the reasons sometimes um, event marketers, for example, try to cover up things with, metrics that don't really matter, just because you try to paint a nice picture for the events that everybody loves and you kind of want to keep on your program.
Yeah, no, that's a and I was even thinking as you were talking, it's the event I met you at a few weeks ago that you hosted the Event Marketers Boot Camp. It's like it was such a simple and straightforward event. We got together in an office in New York City, and it was what 15 people, 20 people maybe. It was one of my favorite events because it's like we have real conversations, not just with what you were moderating in the conversation about what we're talking about now, but also just like the conversations between the people. We were all there for a reason to all be more strategic, level ourselves up, and it just goes to show it's like you don't need a crazy budget. Although I will say we like when you bring us big budget. That always makes it better. But big budget doesn't always mean good if you don't have that clarity of like why are we here? What are we trying to do?
Yeah, again, it's all about the purpose. What are we trying to achieve? To give that example of that meetup hosted, I mean, there was literally very little budget behind it. The purpose was to bring some like-minded people and spend some time talking about things that matter. And if it changes for two, three, four people who are in the room, if it changes something, if it helps them feel stronger, more confident in their role next week, that's the success. That was the goal, and I feel like we achieved it, and that's why it felt like yes, that was great because you set the goal, you achieve it, everyone feels like they invested time in something valuable. And
Mhm.
regardless of the budgets that you put behind your event, this is the most important thing to be very clear about what your event is going to deliver. And we all know that for the company, it needs to deliver business outcomes and pipeline and revenue and all that. So, yeah, you need to be very clear on what it delivers for the company. But if you want your people, attendees, to actually enjoy it and keep coming back and then deliver the revenue, you need to be clear on what you're delivering for them. What are they going to get? And you must deliver on that promise because the amount of times paradise is being promised, but then you end up with, water bottle, mediocre food, and feeling like you spent a day, but maybe, could have done something else is way too much, and that's hurting in general events industry.
Yeah, so in the U.S., it's like most of the events. It's like I'm traveling at least a third of the way across the country to get to them. It's not like I don't go to a lot of events in New York specifically. And in that room, there was one person, and I won't name the name, but it's like I can feel not only a sense of relief from her hearing the conversation from other people. It's like, oh, I'm not the only one that deals with this stuff, but also I saw her like confidence building at the same time. It's like, oh wow, I really maybe I'm better at this than I think I am. And I think that that moment happens for all of us in our careers. For me, I can actually like pinpoint the exact moment where I'm like, oh, I am actually good at this. This couldn't have been luck for 17 years that I know what I'm doing. And it's like everybody needs that moment. And I think in that room and with that, your goal of that meeting, it's like it was very clear. I could see the sparks in people's eyes like, I got this. And I've talked to a couple of people since then about not just the event, but like, where are they going? Like, what am I doing? What is it like on your side, on the agency side of things, which I always done like, if you're on the brand side, just stay there, please.
I said pretty
All right.
much the same thing. Just go brand
Yeah.
side.
Oh,
Sorry to
Brent.
all agencies.
No, listen, I've been on the agency side my whole career, and I'm married to an event producer on the brand side her whole career. She did a very short stint on the agency side, and she's like, this churn and burn of like, I need to do 800 things at the same time. And she is a very thoughtful, thorough, detail oriented. I'm like, she wants the big giant thing, not the I'm planning 17 dinners and I have 18 offsite events and I have one big user conference. So, yes, if you're up for constant motion, join us. Not to say that's not the same on the brand side, but all right. What would you say? So obviously you've produced quite a few events over the years. What would you say is the difference between the event that gets talked about in the room and one that gets talked about 6 months later? Not only just from an attendee perspective, but also from the business side.
To be fair, I think it's pretty much the same reasons with a couple of exceptions. The one that gets talked about in the room and 6 months after on the attendee side is definitely how you made people feel, who they met, what kind of conversations they had. Did they feel like they are in the right place with the right people and this event matters and that will like open up some opportunities for them, or did it matter to them in their journey and where they are right now? So I think that really is important. And again, you can have a really gorgeous venue, tons of production behind it, and so on, lots of budget. That's great. That makes the experience better, adds talking points. But the first starting point is how you made them feel, who they met, did they feel like part of community? And that will stay with them 6 months later. Like you forget all the, fireworks and sparks. I mean, you still remember sometimes the fireworks, like I do. And I know for sure some of my attendees as well, some of the events with actual fireworks above the Alps like 7 years ago. We still remember that moment. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
But above that, what we remember is how we just had that feeling of togetherness and feeling of belonging, and that we spent this 2, 3 days together. And I felt like such special experience that bonded us for till now. I know for sure I can message any of these people. They will remember who I am. They will
Mhm.
remember where we met, how we connected, and we can just pick up that conversation and continue. And it's been years. So, and I think that was pre-COVID. Right now, people, I think, struggle even more with the lack of community, the lack of belonging, and actual connections. It's a common theme. That's why run clubs are so popular. There are tons of startups that are running like dinners with strangers and all this kind of thing. People are lonely. And if your event manages to make them feel like they belong, like they're not alone, not just in their, professional journey, but also they meet people who they genuinely enjoyed spending time with, that's a highlight. They will remember it. They will want to go there again because what if it's the only time they actually met, quite a lot of people had a lot of social time as well. So I think this is super, super important for the attendee side. But there is the layer as well of the professional value that is very important for the attendees to keep talking about it 6 months later. And especially if
Mhm.
you want them to come back, for them to make a decision whether that was valuable, if that's when they need to learn. There is the constant tug of war, right, between the content or connections for event. What matters more? It used to be more on content. Then there was the whole craze about it's all about the connections, cut out the content. It has to be both, and both have to be really well balanced, and then it's valuable. People want to learn when they go to events now. They want to have the content piece. They also want to know about you. If you hosted the event, if you invited them, they actually want to learn about you because when they make a decision to invest their time, it's because they are interested. So give them that and give them something else, give them some other value. And then in 6 months, they will remember it and they will make a positive decision again to invest their time with you. When it comes to the business, definitely that feeling of emotion and like it's just that atmosphere in the room, it is talked about by the business team as well on the day when it's a good atmosphere when you just it's hard to describe. That's what we call sometimes magic of events, right? It's like what happens in the room when the right people connect. That is noticed, that is talked about the next day, the atmosphere, the conversations, because usually good conversations happen once that atmosphere clicks. People open up and they just start telling you things, and you're just like, amazing. Here is the
Mhm.
business value coming back. But in 6 months, it's definitely still the atmosphere, especially if it was absolutely amazing. But of course, also, okay, what results, what value have we produced? So technically, it's the same things, atmosphere and value. It's just that the value for attendee and the value for business have different meaning that you have to define in advance beforehand.
Absolutely. I mean, I feed off the energy I get when I'm at events, and and I'm also equally exhausted when I leave them because of all that social energy I'm putting out there. But yeah, I mean, even when I'm attending an event, it's like I have to come out with this with some kind of outcome. It's like, what did you learn? What connections did you make? Not just like, hey, it felt good. All these people were super cool. It's like, yeah, this is not your personal life. This is your business life. So, and making that connection. But yeah, I mean, but it does start with the energy. Like if the energy's off, you're not going to have any interest in doing the other thing. So, and I talked about that a lot in my last episode. But yeah, I mean, I think that's really important is to connect the energy with the outcome and making sure, even from an attendee perspective, they should have their like, what is my objective for this event? Not just cool. I have all these sessions I'm going to check out, or I'm going to go to this general session, or I want to meet this person. It's like, but what are you going to bring back to your company as a result, so you can go back next year and recreate that feeling with a
Yeah,
clean
that's
slate.
why massive events sometimes actually are killing their own value because they are too big. Because a person has such dispersed, like their attention is everywhere, and I need to go there and here and there, and then you don't get anything. You're like, okay, so what exactly did I learn? Who did I actually meet properly? Who I can
Mm-hmm.
continue building the relationship with? And once it was overwhelming, 3 days of running around the venue, um, I feel like there is a missing piece unless people are extremely intentional about what they're doing, but that comes only with experience and very thorough planning. So that's one thing to think for events. Like if you actually want people to have more value, think about a more streamlined, curated process. Because everyone, have already issues with attention. I think
Oh
we
yeah.
all can attest to that because yeah, our attention levels have gone nowhere, even compared to like
Uh,
7 years ago.
Well, you can't see my office obviously because you're looking at me on camera, but I have three screens, one in front of me. I minimized everything for this. I put on do not disturb on my phone, on my watch, on my computer. It's like because
I
otherwise I'm
appreciate
like,
it
ooh,
so
squirrel,
much.
squirrel, squirrel. It's like
Exactly, yeah.
I can't not. And I told you right before we jumped on. I'm like, I got like 18 different things I'm working on all at the same time. I mean, I have to. But yeah, you have to bring yourself to be in that moment and lock yourself in. But
It's
to
an
the
effort.
attention span thing, it really is, and it's like not every session is gonna be like these. For me, it's like I need high energy, I need interesting, I want to learn something, I want to connect with people. It's like those are my objectives for like any session I'm in, but it's like they're not
Hmm.
all gonna have them. Especially the energy. Like certain speakers, it's like just don't have like the charismatic. I'm gonna be like the Steve Jobs on this keynote stage. But yeah, making
You
sure you're
know
hitting
that
something.
Steve Jobs style does not cut it anymore because of how spoiled our attention is with social like, media, reels and all that. Like da, da, da. No, Steve Jobs was, slower pace. That doesn't cut it anymore. I mean, it's amazing, but
I think it depends on the topic. I will disagree with you there because if I'm
mm,
interested in something, the pacing almost doesn't matter for me.
mm.
And the way, yeah, I read the book about like presentation secrets of Steve Jobs, which was a long time ago. I should probably reread it. But yeah, he also like sat there and worked on it for hours, not even hours, like days. He would rehearse and rehearse and rehearse, and it's like, but yeah, you're definitely right. I mean, the Steve Jobs way is for most people wouldn't work, but if it's a I guess interesting enough topic, hopefully you can still connect with people there.
Yeah, I've been doing that observation specifically on that, like a speaking presentation and the manner, what keeps attention. And once, even very well rehearsed, but you can clearly see it's way too rehearsed, too many pauses, too much of everything. You're like, no, 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 give me more authentic and faster, please. 1.5 speed.
Yeah. Oh, so I'm not the only crazy person. I listen to all my podcasts on 1.5 speed. My best friend's like, "Are you an actual insane person to do that?" I'm like, "Listen, if I'm trying to learn something from it, I slow it down a bit." But it's like most of the podcasts I'm listening to, it's like I listen to. I don't. You probably don't know these people. Bill Simmons, he's a big like sports and pop culture guy. So it's like I listen to his stuff, and I'm like, I'm not learning anything here. It's just nonsense. So like, give me that distraction in the moment. But I'm glad to hear you are crazy also that listen at 1.5 speed.
I listen 125.
Okay,
I'm
so it's
still,
just
you
Thanks. One of the things, and we've talked about it quite a bit already, connecting events to business outcomes. Here's my question here is how do you make the case internally for investing in an experience that you can't fully measure?
So that really depends on where the company is, what their history with events is, because obviously if someone is just starting out, they have no proof of concept, no data. Sometimes you just have to make a leap. You just need to be sure that the amount of investment we are making is an okay investment, knowing that what if everything fails and we don't get any monetary value? You need,
Mm.
of course, you always aim for monetary value, like and return on investment in actual dollars, and return on investment, obviously, on the brand side. So events have both. You aim for both, and you need to make the best out of it. And usually it's never zero. The question is it a positive ROI, or was the experience that expensive that you could never pay it back to begin with? And that's when where you, if you're just starting out, especially, you need someone who knows what they're doing when it comes to events and can actually do proper forecasting for you, understand what your company really needs, and so on and so on. So there's that part. If a company has been investing in events, they know that events work for them. And again, where are you as a company? Are you ready to try something new and you want to try and put a certain amount into that investment? You know what potential outcomes could be. You also do the forecast, the most positive, the most pessimistic forecast. Are we okay with that? What else are we getting out of it in non-monetary value? Are these relationships, potential partnerships? So you anyways are looking at it twofold. And for the company that is struggling to make it work and has runway for 6 months, well, maybe we are not putting all of our money into a huge trade show sponsorship, thinking that that will save us. No, it won't. It has never saved anybody because it's a long-term game and it's very expensive. So we probably need to think about something different. So it's always about where we are. Does it align with our objectives? Is the investment level kind of good for us, tolerable for us in case we're not making any financial ROI? But of course, the goal is to, at the very least, it needs to be like the events needs to pay for itself, because then in this brand kind of part, brand ROI, you are making up for a lot of that non-monetary value. And then, of course, the ideal scenario is that you start making ROI of X3, X5, and so on. So I would say this way. It's never, we can always write a beautiful LinkedIn post like your events always have to make, X something. But that's why marketing exists. It's never that straightforward. There are always nuances, and you just need to know how to work with those nuances for the specific company.
Yeah, there's two things so I'm going to ask questions. So,
Hmm.
A, that what is the pessimistic look at this? Because you hear about, have you heard of the planning fallacy where it's like, oh, it's going to go perfectly? I always compare this when it's like trying to get somewhere on time. It's like, oh, yeah, it should take 35 minutes. It's like, well, what if there's traffic? What if I hit a light? What if
Such
I'm
an
taking the
event
subway and I
thinking.
miss the train? It's like, yeah, it's like I usually it's like, all right, it should take us 30 minutes. I'm going to tell you it's taking us an hour, so I can build in that stuff. And I'm also the person I'd rather be 15 minutes early than on time or late, so I can give myself a moment to like figure out what I'm doing or where I'm going. I'm also the person that gets to the airport and I'm like, yeah, I can just sit at the gate for 45 minutes and have no issue with that. Um, when it comes to making your money back, say this is the first year of the event, what's the expectation of making, even just making your money back? Does it typically take like a couple of years to make it a profitable event, or is it like year one we're expecting to at least break even? Like, what is your thought there?
Well, that all depends, on your economics, right? What is your ACV? What's your sales cycles? What's the investment that you're putting behind it? If you're thinking an executive dinner or whatever kind of dinner and you're putting 20,000 behind it and you're bringing your top 20 accounts that are close to closing the deal and you just want to seal it with this dinner, I mean, yeah, you're gonna pay for it, and your expectations should be pretty high because if no one closed the deal after that, well, maybe you ruined the relationships with that dinner. So think about that. But if you are new to the market and if you are doing your first presence at a big trade show, you just want to really use it to kind of establish yourself, put yourself out there on the map along with other competitors and players in the industry. Yeah, you need to think about it as a long-term game, and you probably need to think about that investment, not just this trade show, but it's a kind of that program where events do play a part. You have this trade show, then you will have this meetup, then you will do something with the partner, and then like every you will keep these touch points compounding, and then you will get the result, but it will take us 18 months because of this and that and that. So yeah, I just wanted to give like very, this is how it is, because it's never it's never like that. The truth is it's always, and it's always changing. One year your company is doing amazing, the market, it just the globally the markets are doing great. And in a year time, you know, certain things happen around the world, and your sector is kind of scrambling, to get ahead. So
Yeah.
um and all of a sudden, everything that was in the pipeline actually sold. So there is a chance
That'd
that,
be incredible.
yeah, and everything is just not moving ahead because everyone is waiting for things to be resolved. So, and lately, it's obviously been more and more volatile. It's something you need to account for.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I think that it makes a lot of sense to have that the wider perspective. Don't think about this one event in a
Hmm.
vacuum. It's like, what are we trying to do over 3 years, 18 months? What's the rest of the program?
Well,
How are
three
we talking
years
about
is
all
too
of it?
far now.
Well, especially depending on the sector, I would say, because there's certain industries where they actually only do one large scale event every 3 4 years. But yeah, in the tech space, yes, it's like, what are we doing in
Yeah,
6 months from now?
yeah,
It's like
great.
even 6 months, it's like, what are we doing next week? Do we have the funding to keep going?
No, but that's true. We've shortened our planning cycles. I really didn't want to plan the second half of the year until we roll at least to like April, May, because there are so many changes.
Yeah,
Like in
no,
the e-commerce space, very much influenced and affected by both AI, but also, of course, by the world's situation and the buying ability from people. So there is just so many factors that play into that. You just want to be flexible. You don't want to tie yourself to, oh, well, we committed to that. We can't get out of it. So just kind of have to go with it.
and I can tell you, we're feeling that on the agency side every day. It's like, okay, we have an event in 2 months. I'm like, 2 months? What do you think we're building in 2 months from now? And in some cases, we can do it, but but it's happening everywhere, and it's happening with consumer product companies we're working with. It's happening tech companies most frequently. It's with tech companies because again, it's like next week the world could be completely different for these types of companies, whether it's funding or whatever. A lot of different things. Um, if you could redesign one thing about how a brand approaches live events from scratch, or even if they have an existing event not from scratch, like what would it be? Is there one thing in particular, like this is the thing I want to start over?
Well, the one thing, and I know many companies have already shifted from that, which is a great thing, but I still think there are a lot of companies, especially outside of tech, maybe still think about it, that events are kind of that perfect lead gen machine. No, they're not. So this is the one thing for me, really, let's not look at events as lead gen, or it used to be like, let's invite people to our event, and that would be our first touch point. I actually think this is changing as well, and people need to have certain level of some sort of connection, some sort of familiarity with your brand to actually agree to invest their time in events. So that is changing as well. So really how you think about where event fits in that customer journey. That's why a lot of trade shows fail, for example, for companies. You scan this 500,000 leads, nothing comes out of it because they never knew you. You scanned them almost against their will because you were like very pushy, and they're like, all right, well, I'll never reply to you. So, I see that more and more from the companies who, of course, can afford that. Is your trade show, is your touch point with your existing customers, with people who already know it. The more your brand becomes known, then people are like, oh, that's a great way to see that brand in person because we've heard about them so much, seen them on LinkedIn, seen them in action. So it fits in a very different place versus the cold audience that doesn't know. It's not an entry point for sure. And then there is the second thing, if I may add, to this,
Yeah.
that I would love to see more companies think about it, more people to think about events differently. I don't have events in my title, for example. I say experience marketing, and I really think we need to think about events as experiences and stop packaging them in our stereotypes of a trade show, a conference, a meetup, an executive dinner. We and then everyone thinks about, oh, we need to run an event and defaults to one of these four, uh, and that's it. No,
Hmm.
everything is an event. I think further we go, the more it's clear that experiences will be more and more in demand. Everything is sort of an event, and for everything, you also need to have someone who runs it, who knows it, and you need to be able to track, connect it to your pipeline. So I there are so many different things that are that experience, and they've traditionally kind of been migrating towards event marketers, right? Even direct mail or something else, some cool campaign. So there are so many different things. So I believe this will be growing, and you really need to be more creative. And again, that open mind and clean slate comes back. I guess these are the top of mind things for me as well right now. How do we change it up?
Well, and the holistic point of view, because to me, and sounds like what you're saying is like events are there. It's a microcosm of an integrated program. It can't just be thought of as like this is the 1 day we're here or this is the 3 days we're here. It's like how are we getting to your point? It's like it can't be the first touch point inviting them to the event. They have to know you. They have to feel like, oh, I want to learn more about this company, or I would definitely want to meet this person in person to get a better detail on X, Y, Z. And yeah, I think thinking about it holistically is it's becoming you're hearing about it more and more on places like LinkedIn, seeing it more in practice. We're getting more opportunities where it's like exactly to your point about the experience. It's like, hey, cool, we have a structure in place for the event, for the trade show, whatever it is. What is the activation? How are we engaging people? What is the story we're telling? And that it makes me so happy to hear because it's like, oh my god, finally, it's not a checklist of like, hey, we need a reception desk and we need a meeting room and we need this demo station. It's like we always need those things, but why are they coming and what are you doing with them when they're there? Not just like, hey, let me throw this PowerPoint demo up on a screen. It's like I can do that on the computer now. We don't need to do this at an event. And that holistic thinking is really that's the biggest change I want to see personally, or am seeing. All right. My last question. You've been doing this for a minute. You obviously have a good amount of experience in the event world. What's one skill that no one tells you matters until you're several years into doing this job?
Well, the one skill, remember the question that you sent me had a stronger a stronger angle to it. You said that until it was too late. So I
That's
gave
true.
it a
That is
little bit of a thought. Well, what happened until it was too late? So that I would say, okay, twofold. One is the hard skill. I would say that, and it wasn't like until it was too late, but nobody told that it is important. And it's definitely copywriting. The amount of content you are producing through events, it's insane. And obviously now we have AI and it can do a lot, but I still think that you, as if you are running your events, if you're creating them, nobody knows them better than you do. And you're the one who is able to create that voice for your event, or you need to have someone who can do it, who will work with you. So I know for sure for me, copywriting and like really um leveling up in that area, and also in general like understanding content and how content works, that's been very, very beneficial. But that's on the kind of hard skills. For the one that I was until it was too late, it's definitely the soft skills, and I guess it's the skill of just letting it go at a certain point, and understanding that sometimes you just need to roll with whatever is best in the current circumstances and not whatever is best overall. And you need to have that flexibility, and you need to have that kind of just, yeah, internally, you need to let yourself go of certain things and put the boundaries, and also just understand that no one will take care of you unless you take care of yourself. Like, don't wait for it. No one will
yes.
come and
That's
save
like
you.
the full circle right there. I mean, it was before we
Hmm.
hit record, but talking about like taking time off, giving yourself that time to breathe for a moment because we're always I'm too busy or I need to be busier, and it's like yes, I very much agree with that. And the letting it go. Events can beat us up for sure. I mean, because on our side, well, the people like producing the events, not even agency side. I mean, like the event people side, it's like we notice every detail. It's like I can't believe we did that thing, and it's like nobody else noticed it. It's okay, just move on to the next thing. And this for me, it's like I always tell people like, there's no reason to get all riled up. Just stay calm, because getting in a panic about these things, about the mistake, or if you're not letting it go, it's like you're not going to fix anything by getting upset about it. Like, yes, you can be upset about it. I'm not going to say ignore your feelings, but at the same time, it's like you got to move on. Like, we can't focus on this right now. It's like we're in go mode. It's like fix it, move on. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes it is what it is, and you make the best out of it. And I think the one part, a lot of us, I think, feel the same way that one mistake and your career is over. Everyone will be finger pointing at you. You failed. You did it badly. No, actually, what happens usually, everyone says, you did it so well despite the circumstances, despite what happened. Actually, usually the opposite things happen. And if that first scenario actually plays out, it means you're just not in the right place, not surrounded by the right people. So, yeah, usually the harshest of all of everybody, it's you on yourself.
Yeah, and it's funny before you said it's surrounded by the right people. It's like you are clearly surrounded by the right people. Of that I mean, it is. It's great. It's like most people see. It's like, wow, I can't believe you pulled that off. It's the people like, oh, that seemed pretty easy. It's like, oh, you better run far away from all those. Well, that's all I got, Alexandra. This was awesome. I really, always enjoy talking to you and hearing your perspective on things. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Well, you said it all. If you walked away with one thing you'll use and didn't just nod along, we did our job. Event Experience Experts drops every week. Subscribe wherever you listen, and if you want to see this beautiful mug, watch us on YouTube. I'm Jay Minash, and I'll see you next time.